Hi, Rick here from Marvel Models, RC specialist from the UK for over 40 years. In this video I'm just doing a quick overview look at the new ZerUAV Xplorer-V. This is a new drone to the market that will come in three guises, from basic drone only through to GoPro gimbaled version through to all-inclusive version, which will come with Xiro's own 14 megapixel 1080 30 frames per second video camera. So what makes the Xiro a little bit more different from a lot of multi-rotors that is on the market is it's fully interchangeable and upgradable from the standard version. So even if you buy the standard version and you decide that you want to, say, have the GoPro gimbal or perhaps the all-inclusive gimbal, it's an easy upgradable. There's no wiring involved, everything just simply clips together. So for example, if I just show you the base of this version here, there's a simple tab release on the side here, and simply by, so I'll just move the legs out of the way so you can see what I'm doing, but this small pull catch here, that simply pulls up and then the camera comes off altogether, and all the components are in that same way. So same obviously with the battery, that can unclip and then come off. Same with the range extender on the controller, that can also unclip and come off. And the reason for this is if you have bought the basic version, then you wouldn't have the range extender, but then what you would do is you would buy the range extender on its own and then it would just simply clip into place. And that's kind of the whole idea with the Xiro. It's fully upgradable, as well as because of this is so modular, as you can imagine, when that's all folded down, the model's got a much lower profile, and that can still sit on there like that with the battery still on it. So it makes it very good for transportation. If I turn it on its side like that, you can see how flat that is. So that could simply go into a backpack for making it really easy for transportation, because everything unclips and comes off. So you can change the specs quite quickly. For example, if you started off with this all-inclusive version, the V version, then you can certainly go over to the G version, buy the GoPro, and there's also going to be a Mobius camera version out as well, which will give you very good sort of FPV. The props are like most of all the other sort of multi-rotors. They're self-tightening props, so they just simply screw on. Can't get the wrong prop in the wrong place, as it will only tighten down onto the correct motor. So a quick look at the controller. As I showed you before, the range extender is detachable. You have a bar at the back there, that's just for making it easy to stand up, but you can also use that for carrying it as well, and that's actually metal. On-off switch is protected in the back there as well. Turning it on, you'll have an array of lights along the bottom here. These are all status lights for things like battery indication, connecting to GPS, connecting to the craft, etc. At the top here, you've got, this is your mode select. So you've got beginner's mode at the bottom, intermediate and advanced. And what these will change is things like the range that the speed you can fly at, and actually the range and height that you can fly to. So obviously on the basic version it restricts it down to only 100 meters and the meters per second you can fly at, and then going up to the third setting, the advanced mode, which will allow you to fly at the maximum meters per second and also allow you to go up to the 500 to 600 meters of range. Like with most multi-rotors, it uses a combined stick command to arm the motor, so that's all fairly normal. And then looking at the top of here, you've got two trimmers. One is actually for dimming the lights, and the other one is for tilting the camera up and down. Now, if you use the DJI products, the gimbal tilt lever actually works in the opposite way. So for example, I think DJI's up and that's down, but on Xiro that is up and that is down. Another nifty part actually is the device holder. This actually clips in the top here, that's it there. So that just simply pulls out into a fashion like that, and then your smart device. Now this is really just geared up for phones, so things like probably up to sort of iPhone 6, etc. will fit in there no problem. I've just got the iPhone 4, so that will just pulls forward like that and then flips into there. Okay, now moving a little bit closer, you've got your hotkeys here. So moving from one side to the next, you've got, this is your auto land and auto takeoff. So simply by pushing that button in, the aircraft will take off to, I think it's 2 meters, and then hold its position waiting for you to take control. Over here you have your orientation control button. This is what activates the special flight features like the follow me mode or the orbit photographic mode, simply by activating that. And then finally in the center here, that is your home button. So if you've flown out and maybe you've got a wee bit disorientated, or possibly you've lost your video feed, activating that, the aircraft will fly back to its home point, wherever you set your home point, and land there. Okay, so a quick look at the app. I'm going to use my tablet. It just makes the screen a little bit bigger and a bit easier to show you. But if you were going to use a tablet, you need to fashion some way of actually holding it on. So it's quite a nice app because it's actually quite simplified. It's not too overly complicated. You've got your basic stuff like battery indication down the side here. You've got the actual picture mode that you're in, so you can either switch from camera or through to video. You've got, that's your album there, so you can see all the stuff that you've taken. It'll be cached onto the tablet. And here you have your basic shooting mode. So this is your normal shoot mode, where you would fire up the camera and then you would fly the craft around and do it all sort of like creative mode on your own. Then you've got follow me mode, where the craft will actually follow the controller using the GPS and the controller. And then the interesting one, this is what we call follow snap. Now what this is for is it'll actually follow something specifically on the screen. So you do need a kind of contrasting thing. So for example, if you were trying to follow, say, a car, if you had a sort of black car against a black background, it's not going to work too well. So you need to have something like a brightly coloured item against a dark background. And the simple way you do it is you actually can just draw a square on the actual screen like that, and then when you see the green box, that means it's locked into it, and then that means when you actually engage the function using the IOSC function that's on the front of the controller, if I just move that there, by pressing this button, that's how you would activate it, and then the craft will actually follow what's ever on here. So in fact, if I don't know if it will do it, if I move the camera, as you can see there, see it's locked into that bottom of that table leg. So as I move the camera up and down, see it's trying to follow it. Now, that's how it works until you actually activate the actual mode, and then the craft will actually follow that object. So you have that, that's your shooting functions. Up here you have a basic settings function, and this is settings for the actual camera. So you've got exposure along the bottom, nice and simple. You've got your recording mode. Along there, you've got your recording resolution, and then you've got your picture resolution. So this drone overall is a much simpler drone than a lot of drones that are actually on the market just now. They haven't sort of overdone it. So if you're looking for something that's going to kind of tick the basic boxes, not too complicated to fly, then this is certainly one that's certainly worth looking at. Other items along here, you've just got your basic stats like the amount of satellites, things like altitude, distance, etc., the mode that you're actually flying in. Now this particular craft will fly in GPS all the time unless it doesn't have enough satellites, and then it's what's called an ATE mode, where it will keep itself level, but it won't have the location lock. You only get that when you're in GPS mode. So a relook at the actual camera itself. Now it comes with, as I say, it's a full HD camera, so you've got 14 megapixels still, and you've got 1080p at 30 frames a second or 720 at 60 frames a second. A couple of nice little things. It obviously comes with a lens cap, but one knacky little thing is the filter on the front is actually magnetic, so it can actually just get pulled off, and so you'll get different densities of ND filters, and these just snap on, as you can see, like that. It's a 3-axis gyro, so it's going to cover banking, it's going to cover the yaw axis, and it's going to cover the pitch axis as well. And as I showed you earlier, it's very quick to remove. Quick and simple to pat down. Just simply pull that toggle, camera comes off, and then you have another one at the back there for the battery that's attached. So the model can't be armed and flown if that catch isn't actually being pulled out, and that simply just pulls out the back, and then the battery, which has proprietary connections, then comes off itself, and then of course the arms fold down, and then you're back to your nice flat state for going inside backpack, etc. So it's going to be a very good model for if you're maybe actually traveling with it and you want to take it the minimum amount of space. This is certainly going to work for you. Now, touching back on the modular aspect, everything is also modular. So for example, this here is actually the flight controller under there. That is modular. That, if you had a faulty one, just simply pulls out. Same with all the motors and ESCs. They're all modular. They all have connections for them. So the idea of this whole thing is you wouldn't have to constantly send to a service center to have things changed if you're actually capable of buying the part yourself, and you could simply fit it on yourself. So I hope you found that video informative, just introducing you to this new range of quadcopters to the UAV market. If you have any questions, certainly stick it in the comments and I'll do my best to answer it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also like us on Facebook if you want to keep up to date of all the latest that's going on in the UAV market. And of course, if you do want to purchase your UAV, your ZeroUAV, then certainly purchase from ourselves. We will cover the UK and the EU markets. Thank you very much.